lot to feel good about right now.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's get into it, boys. So first things first, let's hit the injury report. Wes Hodkiewicz put out a tweet. Packers public training camp practice number 12. Carl Brooks and Warren Brinson are practicing. We talked about that yesterday. That obviously they were. I think Brinson left practice. I think Carl Brooks didn't even start practice, right? So they were back today. That seems to be all behind us there. New injuries, however, Xavier McKinney with the calf. Center Elton Jenkins is back. Must have acted up a little bit again. And then wide receiver Jaden Reed. You guys remember he had a foot injury the other day. We thought it was just a cleats. Evidently something's still bothering him there. So look, this is all precautionary. Obviously, you want to keep them out of the lineup, keep them off the practice field until they're fully ready. That way you don't go into the season missing some of your key pieces. Now, did not participate list on top of the new injuries was Rasheed Walker groin, running back Emmanuel Wilson with the knee, Dontavion Wicks with the calf, Nate Hobbs with the knee, Travis Glover with the shoulder, Kamal Hadden with the hip, Marshawn Lloyd with the groin, Christian Watson with the knee, Colin Oliver with the hamstring, and John Williams with the back injury. Now, I wanted to point
real quick, if I could just real quick say something on Colin Oliver. Got to see him running today. I haven't seen them let him like full on running. So I don't know if that's an indicator that he's getting closer, but he looked pretty good during rehab today.
That's great. That's great news right there, man. For sure. So this, I thought this was kind of cool. Matt Schneidman put a tweet out, said Dontavion Wicks seems down in the dumps today since he's missing another practice with a calf injury. I say that because Romeo Doubs just walked up to Wicks with a big smile, gave him a hug, and said he needs Wicks to smile. Romeo seemed like a different person this year, guys. Am I wrong in saying that, Jacob? It just seems like this dude's his mind is in a good spot. We're going to show a highlight or two here from practice today where he just continues to ball out. If this camp, Jacob, if it's anything, any reflection on or a look into the future, I should say, on what Romeo Doubs might do this year, my goodness, man, he's about to ball out.
Yeah, I actually kind of mentioned that a little bit last night, how I just, from all the interviews, him interacting with the fans, just his body language, it seems way different than the Rome that we're used to. And, I don't want to dig into his head and put words in his mouth kind of thing, but I would agree that it seems as if that he is just more comfortable with himself and with the team, with the camaraderie, with the brotherhood in that wide receiver room. I'm sure that over the last few years, it's been tough with how competitive that room has been. And finally, it seems like him and Christian, obviously terrible that Christian's dealing with the injury, but it seems like that those guys were kind of with Bird, with Reed. They're like the standalone leaders finally. Right. They had a lot of time where they were kind of, oh man, we got the stream guys back in here.
Not anymore. They're gone.
All right. Thank you, Timmy. It does seem like he's turned over a new leaf, or he's just, like I said, happier. I don't know what's going on in the guy's personal life or whatever had been going on, but he just seems like he is content and really excited for the season, which makes me super jacked because even myself, I thought that there was a good chance that Rome could have seen his last days and that he could get traded at any moment. It's still a possibility, right? But I just don't feel like the Packers are ready to let him go, especially not just this year.
Yeah, and
I just caught the ball.
Emilio, it sounded like everybody was reporting too. I think Wildy had mentioned it, that Love was really bragging on Dobby as well. And you guys know they've worked out long before Romeo Doubs got into the league, right? They were working out together with the same trainer, I guess it is, right? But what do you think about Doubs here, man? Or I know some people in here like. Let's see, there was another comment. Well, first of all, Daryl says Doubs making a jump to stardom. Dan Mullen said Romeo seems like a team player, but it's also a contract year. Listen, I think that's a fair statement. He realized I'm about to screw my whole career up here. If there were issues behind the scenes last year, Emilio, and he seems to have gotten it cleaned up, man.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, thinking about it, that's the one thing I was always, high on Rome for is you have that connection with Jordan Love, right? That is a deep connection beyond just the 3-4 years that they've had together here. They're friends. They got, timing down, all that stuff. That's why I would say, Jordan would maybe put in a word for Doubs to keep him here. And the fact that Rome is kind of coming out with this sort of mentality and attitude after, you hit a speed bump last year. You maybe, had something going on, whatever. Let's grow from it. You can get better. You can't take that time back. Let's move forward with it now. And I do think that that's what he's doing, making the most of his opportunities. And, hey, I'm the veteran in here basically besides McCole, but I'm the veteran of this team in this locker room right now, in this wide receiver room. I need to support it. I need to be there and hold them up.
Yeah.
I
Tim,
agree.
you got anything else to add to the Romeo conversation here, brother?
I can't remember. It might have been Packers official media or somewhere I saw a post basically referencing boys to men, and a lot of these young players are becoming men now. We watched Jordan Love get married during the off season. A lot of those guys were at that wedding. Tucker Kraft became a father. I believe Luke Musgrave became a father. There's changes that happen. We tend to forget that these players are human beings. They're not just robot, athletes. And I think it's a big part of your development when you kind of mature a little bit, both as a player on the field and as a man off the field. And I think that's probably where Rome is. And I think a lot of these guys on this team right now. So the boys are growing up a little bit now.
Yeah, it's true. Hardy the Prophet with the super chat. Thank you so much, Hardy. He says Rome went and meditated with A-Rod over the offseason. I don't know if he's being funny there, if that actually happened. You never know nowadays, right? So I know this. He's in a good spot, and I look forward to seeing him get paid. I think Romeo deep down inside is a great dude. I have my doubts that he's going to sign a long-term deal with Green Bay simply because, there's so many things that have happened up at this point. I was hearing Brian Balaga talk about it on Wildy and Tausch, and he's like, it's one of those situations where as a GM, if he does ball out, you're willing to pay him if he's going to be a number one receiver, right? But also in the back of your mind, you got to be thinking, we remember what happened last year. And what if that resurfaces and now you've guaranteed a bunch of money? That gets to be a little tough, right? I still am of the opinion. I think Rome will probably play this year out, test the market. And if the market is where I think it will be, he'll probably sign a deal way more than what the Packers are willing to pay him. But I could end up being wrong there. So.
Right. But even if he's bringing that attitude and mentality to practice, so Clay, right? I mean, that leadership role, even if you want to carry it and you're going to move on after this, I appreciate you doing that now.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. Thank you for that super chat, Hardy. Good to see you, buddy. So McKinney, right? We talked about McKinney having an injury here, and it was listed here by Hawkowitz as a calf, right? McKinney expects to be ready for week 1. He said, quote, obviously glad that we caught it when we caught it. Maybe this was LaFleur's quote. I don't think they specified. Obviously, we're glad we caught it when we caught it. So just kind of trying to take it slow and then the build up, obviously. But I'll be ready when it's time to go for sure. So that was McKinney talking there. So I think he's going to be good to go week 1, much like Nate Hobbs. Unless Nate Hobbs has a setback, I think both those guys will be ready to go. But, man, it's always scary when you see, some of your key premier players kind of pop up all of a sudden. It's like, man, glad we caught that right before the season. Boy, that could have been disastrous. You'd have got it in season with it. So, and then of course Marshawn Lloyd injured on the first day in pads during training camp. He didn't practice, but he worked with the trainer. He said it wasn't a major setback. He's focused on recovery. Tim, do you have anything else on that? Have you heard anything around the facility there in terms of Marshawn Lloyd? Everybody looking ready?
I didn't get to see much of the offense today, but I'm assuming he's with the rehab group, and they're trying to get him back. I mean, I almost cringe when I hear his name being brought up, because we're in the same spot with him we were in this time last year. I mean, dealing with nagging things, kind of stunting his growth. We know if that guy is healthy, he's a hell of a running back, and potential star power. It's just, not staying on the field is not helpful. So, long answer to a short question. I got nothing on Marshawn Lloyd. Hopefully we see him back on the